Foundation Course Kabbalah Part 1 Lesson 6 Rabbi Michael-ben-Pesach Portnaar. I like to go with you to the very depths of life, to go deeper and deeper and deeper. Each day you have to go deeper and deeper within yourself. You're learning about yourself. Each lesson is divided into two parts. In the first part, we will discuss the path of how to come closer to fulfillment. In the second part, we discuss the Kabbalah, the tree of life. In the first part, we discuss the spiritual foundation of the Kabbalah. We start to read in this handbook the first article, and this first article is a very important one. Each article gives a new dimension to your inner being. It is written in an ordinary language, but what is hidden is enormous. Therefore, read slowly, word for word. Let every word penetrate. The first article tells us there is none else beside him. We will only discuss the text of Yehuda Ashlag. The meaning of this spiritual foundation of the Kabbalah is to purify yourself and to open within you specific kelim and to close others. What I ask from you is to be receptive so the light can penetrate you, and through this light you can come to learn how to change. That specific windows may open and others close. How and when you come to fulfillment is only in your hands. By way of your study, by way of your awareness, you can come to fulfillment. It is already within you. The point is you have to penetrate your understanding, your intellect. In me is the wish that the light may form you. That particular windows will go open and others be closed. Only one strength exists, the creating strength of the Creator. And this strength has the attribute of unselfishness, and the universe is filled only with this attribute. It is the attribute of giving. What we are going to learn and to do is how to come in conformity with this strength. This is His strength, and with His strength, He will shine upon us. This is what we do in the Kabbalah. We have only the wish for the receiving. You will receive everything that or what you need for to come to your fulfillment. There is none else beside Him. There is none else beside Him means there is no other force in this world that is against Him. One force, and we experience more than one force. Why? Because it is His wish. The name of this method of correction is the left hand pushes away and the right hand attracts. Left pushes away and the right is attracting the strength. The word kelim means observation, organs. Through the observance of the light, we can come to the correction of the left hand, meaning to transform the attribute of the left hand into the attribute of the right hand. And the attribute of the right is the attribute that belongs to the Creator, the act of giving. This is what we're going to do, to bring ourselves in conformity with His attribute. How? Well, to open ourselves for His strengths. His strength is around us and in the universe. It is the strength coming from above and shining at us. What we have to do is to open ourselves for this strength and to bring ourselves in conformity with this strength. The outcome will be the same for each one of us. Fulfillment. Hidden in this one sentence, we can find an enormous wisdom. I could talk days and days only about this sentence. There is none else beside Him. A lot of forces are around us, and the Creator has done this by purpose. It is His wish that we should give effort for to reach Him. It is the same as in the material world. When you want something and you fight for it, work hard for it, what will happen? Our hard laboring, our fighting does let grow the longing. What counts for this world counts also for the spiritual world. The more effort you have to do, the more the longing grows for the Creator. In a way, when we have to give a lot of effort, it becomes more value. And this is what we call in the Kabbalah a stumbling rock. Nothing can bring you to your fulfillment than your own desire. There's no other strength. You have to believe in His and only strength. Of course, you are just at the beginning of the path. Therefore, it is hard to see there's only one strength, because in your awareness you see different strengths. We have a lot of wishes, and every wish pulls us to a certain place. For instance, the wish for power gives you insight. There is power in every form. And there are also powers in the universe we experience as evil. Why? Because we don't have the right kilim, the right organs for the right awareness. The problem is we can't see yet the good behind the evil. In a way, it is only a deviation of our perception, of our observance, till we have built up the strength to look through, that we may recognize this one strength. Our first task is our assignment to believe in the one strength. Through this, from above, they will close particular windows. We can't do this by ourselves. We don't have the power to uplift ourselves in the spiritual. It is a shame the right intention of this word is lost. We have to try to find the right meaning of the word spiritual, and by finding the right intention, everything will become well. Each one of us has exception, or has expectations. Each one of us want to receive something. The sooner you active a particular window, for instance, the window of there is none else beside Him, love will come down. You have only to open this window by way of your belief. There's only one window that led through the shining of the living strength. It is the window of there is none else beside Him. Therefore, the first step in this study is to work at yourself. We have to learn and to accept there is one strength. And by way of this, you create another goal. And other windows are going to open for other wishes. If we avoid or neglect this, we will deceive ourselves. Kabbalah is a remedy. It is helping us. Kabbalah helps man to dissolve his contradictions he feels by way of his faith. The strength will bring him to a higher level, and then his contradiction is dissolved. Now he can come to the experience of the good existing in the world. Good and evil are two opposites. In every situation you will see the opposite. The Creator has created this by purpose. Why? So now you have the change to lift up yourself. Only by way of a contradiction you can come to unity, to rise up in a new level, and in this new level you will meet again new contradictions, with the intention to come to the feeling of a new unity at this level. Step by step, you rise in your level. You build up within yourself the strength for to come higher and higher, and only then you have the capacity, and not only the capacity, but also now you are worth to dissolve the new antipole with the intention to bring it to oneness. This is the way to grow, only by doing this work. To dissolve the contradictions by going beyond your intellect. You know, it is a never-ending process. Does this process end? It is not given to us to answer this question. While you are studying the Kabbalah, the result will be seen immediately. This is in contradiction with the outer being. But what is the result? You feel the antipole, and when you feel this, you have to know it is only a shortcoming in your awareness, in your observance. Not for the Creator. He is perfect, and it is His wish we will come to His wholeness too. We aren't longer children of the Lord. Those days are gone. He wants us to become His son and daughters, to be grown up. Only in a grown-up way we can work at our corrections. The distance between the Creator and you is so terrifically far away, but you can return to Him. You have such a powerful tool, belief, and through belief you can make yourself whole. By having the faith, there's only one strength. This is your healing power. As long as you see and feel there is evil, you see with your eyes several strengths. you know you have work to do. This is what we mean by going beyond our understanding, that there is none else beside him. Only by having this faith, this strength will help you to know there is no other force. As long as you experience the evil, it only means you have work to do. You have to make a correction for to observe the right observance. How can you correct yourself? Think about the 4 commandments. When you open yourself for something different, for another window, you must know the tap starts to leak. And every leak is a loss of energy, or in other words, this is a form of a sucking power outside your awareness. You only feel these forces when there is a shortcoming in your observance. Strive for a particular goal. This will help you to prevent another leak of energy. In each one of us are observations that aren't corrected. As long as something isn't corrected, you're attached to a particular strength, and we see the strength as the wish. What is happening when I connect myself with other strengths than the one strength? What one sees is other windows are open, and through this open window there is the sucking away of our energy. And this is what we do. It is the same with our observation mechanism. Here are leaks too. When you do something what isn't right, you fell down to the left and windows are opening themselves, whereby the bad energy sucks away your energy. This is the reason why you don't see the higher consciousness, the whole reality. Each one of us observes according to his own observance. You have to keep yourself busy with the inner, and with this particular window, so now you can stay alive. So now you can stay alive. The window we have to open is the window for the eternal life. There is no other strength besides him. When you neglect this principle, life will cheat on you. Open this window. This is the most strongest belief. You only need one window. Therefore, you are here to go the path that leads you to this one window. There is no other strength besides him. But it isn't an easy task. This is a learning process, what can be painful. I don't concern myself with your learning process. What I do is to give you directions. I show you the path the wise man already had showed us. But the work only can be done by you. Kabbalah is a very strong medicine, not magic. Never accept things belonging to the outer world. Do you want to go forward in a very fast way? Then don't walk with them who are attached to the outer. They will absolutely slow you down. When you have time for yourself, think about this sentence. There is none else beside him. Through this sentence, you connect yourself with your eyes, with your tongue, your heart, and your yesod, the last area of the forbidden thoughts. This last area of yesod can be very subtle. For instance, to watch the telly or gossip about others or have bad thoughts about someone, etc. You may think it is unnatural to live according to these 4 commandments, and in a way it is. It is superhuman to believe in this one strength. It is superhuman to believe with the 4 commandments, but it is possible. By way of your sinful thoughts, you will be punished. Particular windows goes open and your energy leaks away, and the consequence is you don't see the wholeness. Your speaking with the evil tongue causes the leaking, and you can't see the reality anymore. Why? There is no agreement with the quality of the Creator. You are provoking powers in yourself, contradiction to others, as 2 opposites. There can and has to be oneness, wholeness. The Creator loves you, therefore you have the antipole. It is you who have as well love and evil within you. When there is anger, you open the window of the evil, and when you feel good, you open the window of the good. Remember the principle, conformity with the attribute. This is oneness, wholeness. Each contradiction has the quality to withdraw strength away. This is your job. Erase the contradiction within yourself and come to wholeness, to unity. It's your process, your growth. For instance, desire. Desire isn't an attribute of the Creator. His attribute is to give, and when you have the desire to receive something, you have a contradiction. Maybe now you better understand the saying, don't desire. Correct the desire and you will stay in balance, stay in contact with the strength of the Creator, because the Creator is the strength of the giving. Knowledge about Kabbalah. The lessons are divided in two parts. The first part is about the structure of the spiritual work. In the second part, we look at the structure of how the Creator created the world. This is the learning of the structure of the universe. Don't think it is something scientific. This structure can and have to be built up in every person personally. Nothing exists in the common. What exists is there in small detail also. In the atom, the molecule gives us the knowledge of the whole. You can compare this with the DNA. The DNA of man tells us who the person is, and it is the same in the spiritual. In you must live the conviction you can comprehend the Creator, His qualities, and the learning of the structure of the universe can bring it about. By bringing the universe within yourself, it is possible for you to come to the experience of the universe within you. The first part is about belief. This is a very tough part. In the second part, we start to learn about the structure, and this knowledge gives us strength, and with this strength we strengthen our faith, belief. And through a stronger belief, we can go deeper into the knowledge, etc. Therefore, make you receivable as much as possible. This is the way for it to come to the experience. You have to feel. To experience the spiritual, it has to grow just as an embryo in the womb of the mother that will bring us to rebirth. Religions are speaking about the afterlife, not in the Kabbalah. You have to come to the experience of the eternal in this life. It only makes sense to feel it in this life. We have to finish the job during this life and not in the afterlife. Never forget this. A person who wants to explain you something, but he isn't quite capable, he will use a lot of words. The more you understand, the lesser words you need for to explain. And we are lacking the understanding. Ask for understanding. The strength you may come to the understanding. It is all about your attitude, your wish for the understanding. This is the only thing that can help you. You are as a guest in the land of the spiritual. There has to be within you the longing to become known with this land, to learn this land. By way of Kabbalah, we can come to learn the spiritual land. The coming into the being of the universe. First, there was only light. The light filled everything, and there was no place for shortcoming. Only the light. Nothing more before the creation came into being. Only the light of the Creator. There was no place for shortcoming of the light, or whatever. Only singular, whole light. This is His essence. It is the attribute of the essence. His essence. To give a thing a name means we have come to a point of understanding. Therefore, there is only one word, essence. What was before the essence, we don't know. When the explanation is simple, no, it is closer to the truth. As I have said before, don't try to come to the understanding with your intellect, with your head. You have to use the 4 points, the 4 bonds. By using these 4 bonds, you open yourself for the true conception. Don't fight. Don't think you already understand. There's no understanding. This is only the beginning. We are only talking about the attribute of the universe. In us are more qualities than we are aware of, but they are as an embryo deep within us. You are at the first beginning of your spiritual journey. First, everything was whole, perfect. There was only the filling with the light. This we name the one and only strength, His essence. Then there was the next step. In His mind came the thought to create the creatures. I tell you this in a language each one of us can understand. Why He did this isn't known. What was before the creation isn't known to us, to nobody. We can't talk about this preliminary phase of the creation. If we do so, it becomes speculation, not knowledge. In the Kabbalah, we only speak about things we know. Knowledge is something you know by way of these four bonds. The knowledge with only your head is not the complete picture. At the beginning there was only wholeness, oneness, and absolute no shortness. Then there was the thought in him for to create the creation. He is mercy, loving kindness. He wants to give. It was and is his wish that there was nothing that should know about his attributes. That there was something that should know about his attributes, about his names. He wanted to create someone who should experience his attributes, his names. Therefore, he created us for to become to know him. What does this mean, his names? All his names are connected with his attributes. Name means a particular strength connected with that particular name. The Hebrew language is the language of the Creator. It is the only language that has still the connection with his strength. The strengths are in the letters, in the open and closed letters. In every Hebrew letter is tangible. His strength, although coded, but it is still a blueprint of existence. Spoken language is human. Everything we read in the Torah, what we read is a primitive way of explaining, so we, the lower beings, could understand a little bit. But it is all about the names of the Creator. All letters of the Torah are names of the Creator. You can see them as the reflecting strengths of the universe. It is our generation that has come to a higher level. They have a feeling and experience the subtle strength within the letters. Each verse written in the Zohar gives strength. All the 5 books of Moshe, they are all about his strength. And you can experience his shining through what you read while you are sitting at home and no one else notices. It is you who pull from above to below. It is you who pull the very thin high strength to our world. And at the same time, it will be spread out over the earth. First there was perfection, and then his essence had the thought for to create the world. But how can one create something that, or what is already perfect? It will be the same as it was before. Therefore, he had to create something different, something that wasn't perfect at all. That's why he pulled out himself, withdrew himself from the central point of the creation. And the deepest point is the earth. And not by accident does man live here. The human being is only living here. Of course, there are other forces, but man is only here. Everything what is made belongs to his strength, and only from the central point the Creator had withdrawn himself. Draw for yourself a circle. Do you see how perfect a circle is? You can compare this with the Ein Sof, strength. A strength without an end, infinity. It is light with no end, which is the meaning of Ein Sof. It was his wish to pull himself back, to withdraw himself, and by way of this withdrawing became an empty place. Empty. Absolute empty. Can one imagine what emptiness is? Can you imagine something completely empty without a sparkle of light? The only method to try this is to imagine darkness. His empty place is a place of darkness, shortness. First there was wholeness, and then emptiness, and then shortness. When you do this for the first time, you can't feel a thing. That's why you want to understand. But with understanding, you won't come through. You have to feel it. You have to experience this. The problem is, the Western man thinks with his head. Everything is within his head. The heart is the inner side of our outer being. And with this organ, we can't reach our real kilim because it isn't the real observation organ. When you may have the thought, but I already know the Creator. What are you doing here? You are here because you don't know the Creator yet. In a way, the Eastern man is much closer to the Creator than we are, at least considering his heart, not with his head. With his head, he is far away from the Creator. Do you see the opposite? The Western man is closer to the Creator with his head, and the Eastern man is closer to him with his heart. It is as it is. Everything is good. While you're learning the Kabbalah, you will come to oneness, because only when you have reached the oneness you can come closer to the reality. Therefore, Kabbalah unites. Everything becomes united in the higher. Only when we stay in the lower, we see all the differences. In the higher, there's only oneness. And this oneness and this diversity was his entire plan, his wish. When we look to religion, and this can be Christianity, Muslim or Jewish religion, they are telling us that on the last day we come to the light, to the Creator. But not we. I don't tell you to come in unity with your religion, but to come in unity with the Creator. Each one of us has the obligation to taste the Creator by himself. All religions, all beliefs, they only bring you to the inner side of the outer side. They are sitting in the story. The Kabbalah teaches us about the attributes of the Creator. Religion tells you to be merciful, to be good, but how to come in agreement with his attributes, they don't tell you. What is the tool? How do I come in agreement with his qualities? Through the instructions of the 4 commandments, not by way of any religion or whatever beliefs you have. You will find your answers here in the Kabbalah. Here you will see the direction you have to follow. The shining will come to you, and you will start to feel it. So the act the Creator had done was the withdrawing, and accordingly, in this point, there was place for the creation. This is the empty place, the place of the shortcoming, and in this place he created all the worlds. This was his first act, the creating of the empty place by way of his withdrawing of the central point. So now there was an empty place for the creation. What was his next step? What has been created? He created limitation, restriction. What is within this limitation? There's only one way to learn the light, by learning the opposite, and the opposite of light is darkness, emptiness. And through this, it seems 2 things exist. Light is perfection, and light is darkness also. Both are necessarily to know the light. And accordingly, the creation himself does do the work for to come in agreement with the light. You have to know everything is filled with light. Shortness is only an observation of your awareness. He who experiences the Creator, he who accepts the Creator exists, he has begun to be a real man. All human relations begin with the recognition of the Creator. You can see this as minus versus plus, darkness versus emptiness, good versus evil. Wholeness is good. Evil means it is still dark. The wholeness that is within the Ein Sof isn't reached yet. We have to do the same as he did, to create emptiness for to experience the light. When you're happy, you don't see the light. Only when you feel the emptiness, you start to feel the light. When you are in the emptiness, your kelim will be revealed in you inner. Only when you have the emptiness, there is the place for the birth of the kelim, and kelim are antennas for to receive the light. Only then the creation can be unfolded. And we need this process of unfolding for it to come to our fulfillment. We will learn everything because there is no disappearance. This is one of the principles. There is no disappearance in the spiritual. When you start to remember this, you make yourself receivable for drops of light that comes to you. Faith and belief are strengths necessarily to talk about in our earthly language. Believe beyond knowledge. Believe beyond understanding. What we are doing is to go directly to and in the spiritual. Not magic, but to come and to become really rich. And this is something a religion person can't understand. By way of the Kabbalah, you come to the understanding that your attributes have to be in agreement with the attributes of the Creator. Otherwise, you can't know Him, understand Him. Let His strength shine upon you. He has given at you a window, and this window is also present in him. Remember, his shining was, is, and always will be there. It is you who has to be prepared to let his shining come through. The more you are coming in conformity with the light, the more you have believed beyond your understanding. But your first step is to believe this. That is the start of your belief beyond understanding, and accordingly you will receive an extra strength. He will flood you with light, not because it is his wish, but because you have longed for it. So for the first act was to withdraw himself from the light, from the central point. So now there is an empty space, and within the space there's absolutely no good. That is what I mean when I say there is no good in man. Intrinsic, there was and is no good in man ever. When you hear somebody talks about how good man is, from now one knows this is the language of a child. There was and there will never be good in man, because the good, what was in the wholeness, had itself withdrawn from the central point. Do you understand? There's only emptiness, total emptiness. The Creator had withdrawn himself for to give us space, for to give us freedom. He did this, so now there was the possibility for existence, for developing. Try to visualize this. Something is filled with light, and then suddenly the light is gone. Visualize that space. An empty space, so now you can have a glimpse of what the Creator has done. And in this, we can see the next step. You can compare this with a ladder. Once you know how something is working, you can independently climb from below to above. The Torah tells us about the creation, and also the Torah is telling us 5,000 years has gone by. Not a single word about what happened before. The Torah only speaks how the Creator wanted to manifest himself at the creation. Many generations have passed by before there was someone who could receive the light. Of course, the beings living during the mammoth episode received light. Each creature had received light. Man was born while the creation already existed. The material world is built up with all kinds of layers, from the most thick to the thinnest world. The thinner it is, the thinner it is, the further away for us. The spiritual is a very thin world, but everything that is ahead, the spiritual, is material. We never can reach this world with something material. Man can develop himself, but all the material developing won't help him to reach the spiritual. It is impossible to reach the spiritual with something material. Only when you develop yourself spiritual, by way of the 4 commandments, only then you can come to wholeness, to fulfillment. There is the Ein Sof, and what is outside Ein Sof is already material. We have to stay here. Ein Sof is the endless light, is only infinity, and we can't speak about it. Not only can't, but it is also forbidden for man to speak about it. There were some great Kabbalists that had experienced the high spheres, and we, the lower man, have to come to the experience of these spheres too. We have to work through. We can come to the edge of the creation, not further, because you can see this as the 0 point. For to come to this point, you have to become 0 also. There is no material in the spiritual, and only to the human being it is given to experience this. There is a saying, by the flesh you will see me. It is only given at man to come to the experience of his greatness by way of our 5 senses.